Drive this car, and it will be yours. Those were the words that made the whole compound of Andotech go quiet. The hot Lagos sun was shining on the interlocking tiles. The expensive glass building of the tech company was behind them. Security men were standing by the gate. Workers in neat shirts and heels had stopped to watch. Phones were already out. Some were even recording. In front of everyone stood Andrew, tall, dark-skinned, about 45, rich, full of pride. He wore an expensive navy blue kaftan and a red cap. He was the kind of man people feared, not just because he had money, but because he had power. He was the CEO. Whatever he said, people did. Beside him, like a black lion, was his brand-new Rolls-Royce. Shiny, clean, powerful. The car looked like money. It was parked in the middle of the compound with little space to turn. The place was tight, flower pots, pillars, parked staff cars, and the gate right in front. And standing in front of him was Monica Abraham. A poor single mother. She was 36, dark-skinned, beautiful but tired. Her brown gown was torn at the side and stained with dust, as if she fell on the road. Her hair was scattered, her slippers were old, her eyes were red from crying. But even like that, even in shame, she stood straight. She had come to beg. Just minutes before, she had knelt down in the reception to beg Andrew to help pay her daughter's school fees. She told him her daughter was in final year in high school and they were about to send her away. She told him she did not want the girl to stop school like she did. But Andrew had laughed. He had laughed the way rich people laugh when they don't believe you have sense. And now, he raised the car key. "Drive this car," Andrew said again, loud enough for everyone to hear, "and it will be yours." The staff gasped. "Ha, boss. Sir, this car? Is he serious?" But Andrew was not joking. His face was hard, his eyes were sharp. He pointed at the small space. "You see this compound," he said. "You will turn this Rolls-Royce inside here. You will not hit the pillar. You will not scratch the wall. You will not touch someone's car. If you scratch it, you are going to jail." He said it slowly, like a threat, like a man who knew this poor woman would fail. Monica looked at him, her eyes shook. Not because she was afraid of the car, but because she knew this was not just a test, this was an insult. Someone at the back whispered, "Why is Olga doing this to her now? She only came to ask for help." Another one said, "He thinks poor people cannot do anything." A third one said, "But this woman looks familiar somehow." But nobody moved. Everybody wanted to see. The sun was hot. The tension was hotter. Andrew stretched his hand, still holding the key up so high, like he was teasing her. "Take it, if you can drive." Monica swallowed. Her lips were shaking. She looked at the car. She looked at the gate. She looked at all the staff. Their eyes opened in shock. Then slowly, she raised her hand. Her fingers were shaking, but her face was calm. She was not the same woman that was begging inside. In that moment, something old came back into her eyes, confidence, like someone who had been on a track before, like someone who had seen speed, danger, and won. Andrew dropped the key in her palm. "But listen," he added with a small, proud smile, "if you fail, you are going to Kirikiri. I don't play with my cars." Some staff laughed nervously. Someone brought out phone and started recording properly. Monica nodded. "I heard you." "You must not hit anything," Andrew repeated. "I heard you," she said again. She walked slowly to the car. Her brown gown was still torn, her slippers still made sound on the tiles. But there was something royal about the way she moved now, like she was walking back into a life someone stole from her. She reached the Rolls-Royce, placed her hand on the door, and opened it. Only the noise from the main road outside, only the sound of a far siren, only the fluttering of the Nigerian flag in front of the building. "Is she sure?" one staff whispered. "This space is too small," another said. Andrew folded his hands, smiling. He was enjoying it. To him, this was a good lesson. Don't come to a billionaire with pity, earn it. Monica sat inside. The car swallowed her. The leather was clean. The smell was rich. The dashboard glowed. For a second, her eyes became wet. Not because she was afraid, but because this brought back memories. Memories of a time she was not poor. Memories of a time she wore race suits, not torn gowns. Memories of a time people shouted her name in another country. She closed her eyes. She placed her hand on the steering, and suddenly her whole body changed. Her shoulders straightened. Her grip became firm. Her eyes became sharp. This was not Monica the cleaner. This was Monica, the driver. This was Monica, the woman they framed. This was Monica, who once drove faster than men. "Start now," Andrew called from outside. "We don't have all day." Monica opened her eyes. She pressed the start button. The engine came to life, a soft, powerful sound. Everyone leaned forward. She checked the mirrors. She looked back. She judged the space with her eyes like she was drawing lines in her head. Then, she moved, slowly, very slowly. The car began to glide backward. Not jerking, not confused, smooth, but Andrew was still smiling like, "Keep going. You will still fail." Monica turned the steering gently, brushing the car past a flower pot without touching it. She entered a tight angle, reversed again and straightened. She turned her head like someone who had done this 1,000,000 times. In less than 1 minute, she had turned the Rolls-Royce neatly, faced the front gate, and stopped. There was a long silence. Even the workers that were gossiping closed their mouths. Nobody expected it. Not like that. Not that fast. Not that clean. Monica opened the car door and stepped out. Still in her torn gown, still in her old slippers, but now like a champion. For 3 seconds nobody spoke. Then from the back, one person started clapping. Then another. Until the whole compound of Undertech, secretaries, cleaners, security men, drivers, software engineers, managers, all of them began to clap for the poor woman that shocked their billionaire boss. Andrew's smile disappeared. He stared at her like he was seeing a ghost. "Who are you?" he asked, voice low, eyes wide. The phones were still recording. Monica's eyes filled with tears. Right there, in front of everyone, in the hot Lagos sun, in a torn gown, holding the key of a car she did not own yet. She opened her mouth to speak. "My name is Monica Abraham," she said, her voice breaking. "I was not always poor. I was a Formula One driver." Gasps. Some staff shouted, "What?" "I was framed and deported." Andrew's mouth slowly opened. He knew what that meant. He knew F1 was not for small people. He knew this was not an ordinary woman. But before Monica could tell them who framed her, before she could tell them how she ended up begging in Nigeria, Andrew's personal assistant came running from the building, face scared, shouting, "Sir, sir, it's about your late wife's case." And that was when everything changed. For a few seconds, everyone froze. Andrew's assistant, a young man named Daniel, was panting as he reached the compound. Sweat dripped from his forehead as he tried to catch his breath. "Sir, it's urgent, about your wife's case," Daniel said. Andrew's face changed. The mention of his late wife always struck something deep inside him, something he never allowed people to see. His proud smile faded as he turned to Daniel. "What about her?" he asked. Daniel hesitated, his eyes flickering toward Monica. "Sir, maybe we should talk inside." But Monica, still standing by the Rolls-Royce with tears in her eyes, took a step back. "It's okay," she said quietly. "You can talk." Andrew glanced at her again, her torn dress, her calm face, her strength. Something about her made him pause. He waved a hand. "Say it here." Daniel swallowed. "Sir, the private investigator just called. They found something new. The man who handled Madam's accident—" "Enough," Andrew cut him off sharply. His voice was cold, but his hand trembled slightly. "We'll talk later." He turned back to Monica. "You said you were framed?" Monica nodded, wiping her tears. "Yes. I was a professional racer, Formula One. I was born in Nigeria, but I represented South Africa because of my team. I was good, one of the best. I won 5 major races before everything crashed." Everyone was listening now. Even the security guards left their post to stand closer. Monica continued, her voice trembling but strong. "There was an accident. Someone on my team tampered with my brakes. The car spun out. I survived, but another driver was badly injured. They blamed me. Said I did it out of jealousy. They had fake evidence, documents, recordings. I was banned. My name was destroyed. I was deported." The whole compound was silent. Andrew's expression softened. And your husband? Monica's eyes dimmed. He was a banker, gentle, kind, the only man who believed me when the world turned against me. We married, had a daughter, Michelle. But he was killed by armed robbers while trying to withdraw money to pay our rent. Since then, I've been alone with Michelle. Her voice cracked. I tried to find any job, cleaning, washing, driving keke. Nothing stayed. I came here today because I was desperate. My daughter's school was about to send her home. There was a long pause. Even Andrew, the proud billionaire everyone feared, was quiet. He looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time, the same woman he mocked, the same woman he wanted to humiliate. The same woman who turned his Rolls Royce like it was a toy. Sir, Daniel said softly, this woman, she could actually be useful to you. The company needs a new driver since Mr. Sunday retired. Andrew didn't respond immediately. His gaze stayed fixed on Monica. You know, he said finally, his voice low, when I saw you begging, I thought you were just another person who wanted an easy way out. But you've proven something. Something I didn't expect. He walked closer to her, standing just inches away. You didn't just drive that car perfectly, you drove it with courage. Monica said nothing. Her hands were still shaking. Andrew looked around at the crowd of staff who had gathered. Everyone, go back to work. His voice was calm but firm. They hesitated, but when he repeated, I said go, they scattered quickly. Only Daniel remained near the entrance. Andrew turned back to Monica. Monica Abraham, he said slowly, this car is yours. She blinked. What? I said, the Rolls Royce is yours. I made a promise, and I keep my word. Monica's mouth fell open. Sir, you can't be serious. This car… I am very serious, he interrupted. From now on, you're not just a random woman. You'll be my official driver. And you won't stay in that shanty again. I'll send someone to help you move your things and your daughter into my compound. Monica froze, her eyes filled again. Sir, I don't even know what to say. Say nothing, Andrew said softly. You've earned it. He turned to Daniel. Take my other driver. Go with her. Help her move her things and her daughter. Yes, sir. When Monica walked toward the gate, her legs trembled. People who had mocked her minutes ago now stared in disbelief. Some whispered, she's lucky. Others said, God truly lifts people in one day. But for Monica, it didn't feel like luck. It felt like justice finally chasing her down. That evening, Monica and her daughter Michelle sat in awe at the billionaire's mansion. The marble floors reflected the lights like mirrors. The chandeliers sparkled. The compound was wide enough to fit 20 cars. Michelle, a 16-year-old girl with bright eyes and a shy smile, couldn't stop looking around. Mummy, she whispered, are we really going to live here? Monica smiled weakly. Yes, my child, it seems so. Michelle ran to the window, looking out at the Rolls Royce parked neatly in the driveway. That car, it's really yours. Monica nodded slowly. It's ours now. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she pulled Michelle into a hug. You see, my daughter, she whispered, never let anyone make you believe you are small. Never let them think your pain defines you. Michelle hugged her tighter. I'm proud of you, Mummy. Downstairs, Andrew stood by the balcony, watching them from afar. Something strange stirred in his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. It wasn't just admiration, it was guilt. He remembered how cruel his challenge had been, how proud he sounded when he mocked her. But seeing her now, the same woman he tried to embarrass, he couldn't stop thinking, who was the real failure? The rich man who lost his humanity, or the poor woman who kept her dignity? He turned away, his heart heavy. Tomorrow, he thought, he would take her out for lunch. He needed to know more about the woman who made him question everything. But he didn't know that someone in the mansion was already plotting to make sure Monica didn't stay there for long. The morning sun poured gently over the massive mansion like liquid gold. Birds chirped across the wide compound where luxury cars sparkled in perfect rows. Somewhere between those cars sat the black Rolls Royce, the car that changed Monica's life overnight. Monica stood near it, wearing her new uniform, a neat black suit jacket over white shirt, black trousers and simple flats. Her hair was neatly packed, her eyes brighter than they had been in years. She still couldn't believe it. She had slept in a soft bed for the first time in a long time. Michelle had her own room with air conditioning and a study table. As she touched the car's smooth hood, she whispered, "Thank you, God." Then she heard footsteps. "Driver Monica," a cold female voice called from behind. Monica turned. It was Catherine, Andrew's cousin and the mansion's manager. She was a tall, dark-skinned woman in her early 40s with a sharp face that looked like it never smiled. She was wearing a gold-laced gown, and her eyes carried silent contempt. "Good morning, Ma," Monica greeted politely. Catherine folded her arms. "So you're the new driver everyone's talking about?" "Yes, Ma." Catherine gave her a long, judgmental look. You must be very lucky. Not every woman begs a billionaire and ends up in his mansion." Monica forced a smile. "I didn't plan for this, Ma. It just happened." "Oh, I'm sure it just happened," Catherine said sarcastically. "Andrew is a kind man, but you should know your place. You're staff, not family. And don't think this mansion is yours just because you're driving his Rolls-Royce." Monica's heart tightened. "I understand, Ma." "Good. Then act like it," Catherine snapped and walked away, her high heels clicking sharply on the tiles. Monica sighed and turned back to the car. She had faced worse people in her life. She would endure this too. At 8 a.m., Andrew came out of the main house, wearing a light grey suit and dark sunglasses. He looked powerful, confident, the image of a man who controlled everything around him. But when he saw Monica standing beside the Rolls-Royce, something in his face softened. "Good morning, Monica." "Good morning, sir." He studied her for a moment. "You look different today." She smiled shyly. "Maybe because I finally slept without worrying about rent." Andrew chuckled. "You've earned it. Let's go. I have a board meeting at Andertech." "Yes, sir." She opened the back door for him, then got into the driver's seat. As the gate opened, she maneuvered the Rolls-Royce with perfect precision, the same calm confidence she had shown yesterday. Andrew watched her from the back mirror, her focus, her smooth handling, her steady breathing. Every motion reminded him of something he had lost: simplicity, humanity. They reached Andertech in silence, but before he stepped out, Andrew said softly, "Monica, I owe you an apology." She turned, confused. "Sir?" "For yesterday," he said. "I treated you like entertainment. I mocked your pain." "That wasn't right." Monica swallowed hard. She wasn't used to hearing such words from people like him. "You don't have to, sir. You didn't know my story." He smiled faintly. "Maybe not. But now that I do, I see you differently. You remind me of my wife." That surprised her. "Your wife?" He nodded slowly. "She was humble, determined, strong. She passed away during childbirth. I haven't been the same since." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Andrew straightened. "Thank you for being brave enough to remind me what kindness looks like." Monica's eyes softened. "Thank you for giving me a chance, sir." When he left the car, she stayed seated for a moment, her hands trembling. She wasn't sure why her heart was beating so fast. Maybe gratitude, maybe fear. That evening, Catherine entered Andrew's office unannounced. "Andrew, are you out of your mind?" she said sharply. He looked up from his laptop, calm but firm. "What's the problem, Catherine?" "The problem?" She laughed bitterly. "The problem is that you brought a stranger, a woman you barely know, into this house. She's living here, with her daughter. What will people say?" Andrew leaned back. "People can say whatever they want. Monica deserves a second chance." Catherine slammed her hand on the desk. "You're letting emotions blind you. That woman could be lying. You don't know her past. What if she's after your money?" Andrew's tone darkened. "Enough. I've made my decision." Catherine glared at him. "Fine. But when she destroys everything you've built, don't say I didn't warn you." She stormed out, her mind racing with anger and jealousy. That night, Monica tucked Michelle into bed. "Mummy," Michelle whispered, "Mr. Andrew is a good man, isn't he?" Monica smiled faintly. "Yes, he is. But remember, we must stay humble. This is not our house." Michelle nodded sleepily. "One day I'll buy you a house like this." Monica kissed her forehead. "Sleep, my baby." After she left the room, Monica stood at the balcony, looking out at the glittering compound. Her heart was full of gratitude, but also fear. People didn't always like seeing others rise. Downstairs, Catherine was watching her from the shadows near the staircase. Her face was tight with bitterness. "She's not staying," Catherine muttered to herself, "not if I can help it." The next morning, when Andrew came down for breakfast, Catherine was already waiting with a file in her hand. "Good morning, cousin," she said sweetly. "I think you should see this." Andrew frowned and took the file. Inside were printed photos of Monica, old photos. Monica in a race car, Monica in a courtroom. Monica crying in handcuffs. Headlines screamed, "Former F1 driver deported for fraud." Andrew's eyes widened. "Where did you get these?" Catherine smiled coldly. "From someone who knows the truth. She's a criminal, Andrew. She fooled you." Andrew's chest tightened. "That's impossible. She said she was framed." "People always say that when they're caught," Catherine replied smoothly. "If I were you, I'd send her out before she embarrasses you again." Andrew looked up sharply. "Leave my office, Catherine." But as she walked away, a seed of doubt had already been planted in his mind. That afternoon, Andrew couldn't focus at work. Every word Monica had said replayed in his head. I was framed. Was it true? Or had he fallen for another lie? He didn't know that while he struggled with his thoughts, Catherine was secretly planning to ruin Monica's life once again, this time for good. The morning rain had just stopped. The air was cool and the smell of wet soil filled the Billionaire's compound. The Rolls-Royce gleamed under the faint sunlight as Monica stepped out of her quarters, ready for another day's work. Her daughter Michelle stood at the doorway in her school uniform, smiling brightly. "Mummy, you look happy today," Michelle said, adjusting her backpack. Monica smiled. "I am, my love. I finally feel like things are changing for us." She knelt down, hugged her daughter tightly and whispered, "Study hard, Michelle. This chance we have, it's a gift. Make me proud." "I will, Mummy," Michelle said softly before the company driver drove her to school. As Monica straightened her jacket, she noticed Catherine standing by the mansion entrance, pretending to check her phone. Their eyes met. Catherine gave her a tight smile, the kind that hid venom behind politeness. "Good morning, Ma," Monica greeted gently. Catherine replied without looking up. "Andrew is waiting. Try not to keep him waiting again." Monica nodded quietly and walked to the garage, but deep down she felt uneasy. Catherine had been acting strange since yesterday, too quiet, too watchful. Something wasn't right. At the company, Andrew sat in his corner office overlooking Victoria Island. His face looked tired. He had barely slept. Catherine's words from yesterday still echoed in his head. "She fooled you. She's a criminal." But his heart refused to believe it. Monica's eyes were too honest, her humility too pure. Still, he needed to know the truth, for himself. When Monica arrived, she found him standing by the window, holding a file. "Good morning, sir," she greeted. He didn't respond immediately. Instead, he turned slowly and placed the file on the desk. "Monica," he said quietly, "what exactly happened before you were deported?" She froze. Her heart began to race. "Sir, I told you, I was framed." "By who?" His voice was calm but sharp. "Your team, your manager. Who hated you enough to destroy your life?" Monica looked down. "My manager. He was jealous because I was becoming more popular. I found out he was fixing results for other racers. When I tried to expose him, he set me up. There were fake bank transfers in my name. I was accused of sabotage and money laundering." Andrew studied her face carefully. "And you have no proof?" "None that anyone cared to see," she whispered. "I lost everything, my license, my sponsorship, my dignity." Andrew sighed and rubbed his temples. "I want to believe you, Monica. I really do. But these—" He opened the file, filled with photos, court reports, and headlines. "These don't make it easy." She stared at the papers and tears welled in her eyes. "Where did you get these?" He hesitated. "Catherine brought them." Monica's body stiffened. "Of course she did." "Why?" "What do you mean?" Andrew asked. Monica's voice shook. "Sir, that woman hates me. She doesn't want me here. I can feel it every day. She watches me like I stole something." Andrew frowned. "Catherine wouldn't—" "She would," Monica interrupted softly. "You may not see it, but she doesn't like me." "Please, I'm not lying." Andrew looked conflicted. His heart wanted to trust her, but his mind whispered doubt. Before he could speak again, Daniel knocked on the door. "Sir, there's a visitor asking for Miss Monica. Says it's about her past." Both of them looked at each other. "Send him in," Andrew said. A tall man in his 50s walked in. He wore a dark suit and carried a folder. His accent was South African. "Miss Abraham," he said with a sneer. "It's been a while." Monica's breath caught. "Mr. Collins?" Andrew's eyes widened. "You know him?" Monica nodded weakly. "He was my manager, the one who framed me." Collins smirked. "Framed you? Oh no, Monica. You did that to yourself, and now you're trying to fool another rich man." Andrew's face hardened. "Watch your words, you're in my company." Collins ignored him. He opened the folder and threw papers on the table. "This is proof she stole team money and caused a crash that almost killed a driver. She's dangerous." Monica picked up one paper with trembling hands. "This is fake. The signature isn't even mine." Collins laughed cruelly. "You always say that, don't you? Poor Monica, always the victim." Andrew stood silently, watching both of them. His face was unreadable. Collins turned to him. "Mr. Adam, if you're smart, you'll send her out of here before she ruins you, like she ruined us." Then he left, leaving the room thick with tension. Monica's tears fell freely now. "Sir, please. You must believe me." Andrew took a deep breath, torn between logic and instinct. "Monica, I need time." She stepped closer, her voice breaking. "Time, after everything I've told you." "I'm sorry," he said softly, then turned away. "You can go for now." Monica walked out, her vision blurry. As soon as she reached the hallway, Catherine was waiting, arms folded, a wicked smile curling on her lips. "I warned you," she said coldly. "Andrew doesn't mix pity with business." Monica didn't reply. She just kept walking, her steps heavy with heartbreak. That evening, the mansion felt colder. Michelle tried to cheer her mother up during dinner, but Monica barely touched her food. "Mummy, are you okay?" the girl asked. Monica forced a smile. "I'm fine, baby." But she wasn't fine. She could feel her life slipping again, like sand through her fingers. As she cleared the plates, she heard voices coming from the living room, Catherine and Collins. She froze behind the curtain. "You did well," Catherine said. "Andrew believes you. He'll never look at her the same again." Collins chuckled. "You still owe me. That woman nearly destroyed my career." "Don't worry," Catherine replied. "She'll be out of this mansion by tomorrow morning." Monica's blood ran cold. Her knees almost gave way. They had set her up. Again. Later that night, Monica sneaked quietly into Andrew's study. Her hands trembled as she placed a small flash drive on his desk, containing every piece of evidence she had secretly gathered for years, including voice notes, photos, and messages proving her innocence. Then she whispered, "I'm not running this time." As she walked back to her room, she didn't know that Catherine had been watching from the shadows, her phone camera recording everything. And by sunrise, that video would be all over social media, with the caption, "Billionaire's driver caught stealing from his study at midnight." By sunrise, chaos had already begun. The mansion gates were surrounded by reporters, their cameras flashing like angry lightning. Security guards struggled to control the noise. Headlines were already trending online. "Billionaire CEO betrayed by his driver." Viral video shows Monica Abraham stealing. Inside the mansion, Andrew stood in the living room, his phone in his hand, his face pale. Catherine was beside him, pretending to be heartbroken. "I told you, Andrew," she said in a low voice. "I told you she would disgrace you one day." Andrew didn't respond. He just kept replaying the 15-second video, Monica entering his study late at night, looking around, then placing something on his desk. No sound. No explanation, just the image. To everyone watching online, it looked like theft. But to Andrew, something didn't add up. "Where's she now?" he asked quietly. "In her quarters," Catherine replied. "I told the guards not to let her leave until the police arrive." "Police?" Andrew's voice sharpened. "Who told you to call the police?" Catherine blinked. I thought you'd want her arrested." Andrew's jaw tightened. "You don't make decisions for me." He turned toward the hallway, ignoring her panicked face. "And if she's innocent, Catherine, you've made a terrible mistake." When Andrew entered Monica's quarters, she was sitting on the floor, holding her head in her hands. Her eyes were red from crying. "Sir, I didn't steal anything," she said immediately. "Please believe me. That flash drive had proof. Proof that I was framed in South Africa. I wanted you to see it." Andrew's heart squeezed. "Proof?" "Yes," she said, her voice shaking. "All the messages my former manager sent me, threatening to ruin me if I didn't keep quiet about his fake sponsorship deals. I gathered them for years. That's what I put on your desk last night. You were asleep." Andrew stared at her. "Then why didn't you tell me?" "I tried to," she whispered, "but you looked at me like you didn't trust me anymore." For a moment, there was silence. Then Andrew turned toward Daniel, who had followed him in. "Bring the security footage from last night, all angles." "Yes, sir." Catherine, who had come running behind them, froze. "Andrew, there's no need for that." "Oh, there's every need," Andrew cut in coldly. "You brought that video to me. Let's see the full version." Her face went pale. "You're wasting time. Everyone online already saw what she did." "Then let's make sure they see everything," Andrew said sharply. 20 minutes later, Daniel came back with a hard drive. They connected it to the big screen in the living room. The entire household, guards, maids, and even Michelle, who had rushed back from school after hearing the news, gathered quietly. Andrew's voice was calm but heavy. "Play it." The footage began. It showed Monica walking quietly into the study. She looked tired but peaceful. She placed a small flash drive on the desk and whispered something. Then she turned and left. Andrew folded his arms. "Keep playing." Daniel fast-forwarded. A few minutes later, the camera caught Catherine sneaking into the same study. She looked around, picked up her phone, and positioned it toward the desk. Then she hit record, starting her fake video, and slipped back out. The room went silent. Catherine's lips parted. That's not what it looks like." Andrew's voice was like thunder. "It's exactly what it looks like." He turned toward her, fury burning in his eyes. "You set her up. You brought that Collins man. You fed me lies." Catherine tried to speak, but her words stumbled. "Andrew, I was only protecting you. She's not your type." Andrew cut her off, stepping closer. "You were protecting your pride, not me. You couldn't stand seeing someone rise from nothing." Catherine's eyes filled with panic. "Please, I can explain." "No," Andrew said coldly. "Pack your things. You're leaving my house today." Then he turned toward Monica, whose tears had started to fall again, this time from relief. "Monica," he said softly, "I'm sorry." The sincerity in his voice broke her completely. She shook her head. "You don't need to." "I do," he interrupted gently. "I doubted you when I should have believed you. You saved my reputation, and I almost destroyed yours." Michelle ran forward and hugged her mother tightly. "I told you he'd believe you, Mummy." Andrew smiled faintly. "Not just believe her, the world will." By afternoon, Andrew called a press conference right outside the mansion. Dozens of reporters gathered, their microphones raised. Andrew stood at the podium beside Monica. "Yesterday," he began, "the media rushed to publish a story about betrayal. But today, I'm here to tell the truth. About courage." He gestured to Monica. "This woman was wrongfully accused years ago. She was set up again, right here in my house. But she faced it with grace, not hatred. I'm proud to call her not just my driver, but my partner in rebuilding Anditech's transport and safety division." Cameras flashed, people clapped, social media began buzzing again, this time with a new headline: "Billionaire CEO clears innocent woman, offers her top position." Monica stood frozen, overwhelmed. "Sir, partner." Andrew smiled warmly. "You've earned it, and I meant what I said. The car is yours, and so is your future." Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, "You changed my life." He shook his head. "No, Monica. You reminded me what life really means." Weeks passed. Michelle finished her exams and was offered admission into the University of Lagos to study medicine, just as she had always dreamed. Andrew sponsored her fully, saying, "Consider it a small investment in a brilliant future." The house that once echoed with tension now echoed with laughter. Monica had her own office in Anditech, handling logistics and transport safety. Her skills as a driver finally valued. But one quiet evening, while watching the sunset from the mansion balcony, Andrew turned to her and said softly, "You know, Monica, you didn't just drive that car. You drove me back to humanity." She smiled through tears. "And you drove me back to hope." He paused. "There's one more thing I want to ask." She turned, curious. Andrew went down on one knee, holding a small box. "Monica Abraham, will you drive this journey of life with me?" Monica gasped, her hands covering her mouth. "Sir, Andrew." Michelle, who had walked in quietly, shouted, "Say yes, Mummy." Everyone laughed. And as Monica nodded through tears, the mansion lights glowed behind them like dawn returning after a long, stormy night. Her story, from humiliation to triumph, had come full circle. The same words that once mocked her had now become her miracle. "Drive this car, and it will be yours." Only this time, the car was her life, and she was finally in control of the wheel. What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? If you enjoyed this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.